Hello, hello, everybody.
Hey,
Hope everybody's having a nice Sunday.
lovely, lovely Sunday. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood here. It's 80 degrees. I'm sorry for all of you who are not in the warmth, but
Well, it's
hopefully, hopefully,
it's 7 degrees here today, so that's Celsius, so it's actually pretty warm.
nice, nice.
Yeah.
Not in the grips of a horrible
No,
polar vortex or
not at the moment. It's supposed to go up to 11 sometime in the by the end of the week, so that's pretty nice. And then
nice.
I imagine it's gonna dip again. Winter's not over here yet. It's gonna hit again.
Well,
Looks
I
like
hope not.
we got Oklahoma Outlaw here. Hello, hello. We got Kathy. We got MSTs here. All
Missing the
right.
football already.
Hello, hello, Kathy. So it's kind of a big conversation here today, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's a tough one. But first, I would like to start with a little bit of an apology. Actually, a lot of it of an apology. The other night on Hill Pirate Live, I was involved with commentary in the live chat that was uh, unbecoming of me. Um, I'm trying hard to be more uh, open and educational and not be combative about what I believe or what I see. And I behaved in a manner that went hypocritical of all the things I'm trying not to do. I do not know if or how much of it was a part of the live show being stopped and restarted. But I want to apologize. I have apologized to Jeff and Ned, but I also want to apologize to any viewers of that show for it. If I was a part of that disruption, I am very sorry because that is not the kind of person that I want to be. And
Well, that's very gracious of you for sure, with the owning up to it, if that's I did see it. I wasn't there at that time, but yeah, you know,
yeah,
you're owning it. You're seeing something that you didn't particularly like about what you did and saying
no,
something. I'm sure we can all.
no, I thought about it later and I was like, wow, I didn't need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, but whoever does watch this live stream now or later, I am very sorry for my behavior, and I don't want to be that kind of a person.
Emotions can get to us sometimes, and it's a lot of stuff going on lately. A lot of stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, and
And
that's the thing, that a lot of this stuff that is going on is, hot. It's a hot
contentious.
button.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hot button to touch, and calmer and cooler heads need to prevail in this, or we get like what we've been seeing.
Yeah, for sure.
People don't need to be dying over this.
Yeah, and getting at each other's throats. I mean, it's
Yeah, because as far as the situation with Alex Preddy, there is a circumstance where it can be called into question what happened.
mhm.
I, you know, do you want to do 2A now or wait till later in the show for it? Because I know the main theme was the separation of church and state.
Yeah, well, hey, it's your show. Whatever direction you want to go, I'm here for it.
I think it's yours too. So,
Well, okay, fair enough. It's your name. You're the ugly old broad, not me.
and I'm the big fat mouth of the show. Um, yeah, Oh my goodness, there's so much memes abound. But yeah, I do want to get started on started with the separation of church and state, because in connection to what is happening with last week's show as far as racism, a lot of it has roots in what we're talking about today. There seems to be this very blurred line now of what it means to have this kind of separation. And I want to talk about, first of all, what is it? And in the United States, and it's addressed in the First Amendment. So that right there should tell you something. They put it in the First Amendment. This is
yeah, for sure.
Yes. I forgot that other meme too, the one with Charlie Kirk. It prohibits the government from establishing an official religion. It prohibits the government from favoring one faith over another, or to interfere with religious practices. This is all in the First Amendment. It's supposed to be a wall of separation. What it does not do, you're supposed to be free to practice your religion how you want, how you see, as long as you're not hurting anybody else. It means now, one of the reason why they established it this way, one of the first reasons why, is a lot of those people had come out from under British rule in the Church of England. That was a state-sanctioned church. Laws all over the land. This is the only way you're allowed to believe. You cannot, under even the penalty of death, you cannot practice another religion except what was sanctioned by the Church of England. And the writers of the Constitution debated this quite a bit. The Continental Congress did. And they ultimately decided, no, we're not going to make an official religion, because the reason why we're writing this document is no man has the right to tell another man how to believe.
Yeah.
Period. End of discussion. And what has become critically obvious now is that protection is only allowed when it comes to other religions. But the Christian nationalists, the fundamentalist evangelicals will tell you, well, this country was created as a Christian country. No, it was not. No, it was not. And I wanted to bring up that letter. I'm sorry. I'm gonna type this because it's important to mention this. It's the letter that Thomas Jefferson wrote about the separation of church and state.
Right. Did you you didn't give me a link or anything for that?
I think I did, but I'm not going to hold my breath on that. Okay. Because if I did, it's lost in all our conversations somewhere. Okay. The letter that Thomas Jefferson wrote to the Danbury Baptist Association.
Oh, right. I've heard of this, yeah.
Yeah, he wrote it on January 1st, 1802. And it was in response to Baptists who feared religious oppression by the Connecticut state government. And they wanted more context regarding that the prohibition of government interfering in their religious beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Charlie Kirk mentioned it many times when he went out on his events. And he said the only time it was mentioned was that letter. Yeah, if you ignore the First Amendment.
Yeah.
Because the First Amendment clearly states, I mean, they don't use the actual words separation of church and state as Jefferson did. But it clearly states, we're not going to tell you how to believe.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to even tell you how to believe. There was even a lot of doubt that Jefferson was a Christian, because a lot of his writings and things like that didn't identify that he was. So the closest that they could decide that he was a deist.
Yeah, it seems like he was probably more than likely a deist. So he had some element of agnostic thought in his mind, where it's like, it's clear that he didn't, to me anyways, from what I've read, and the fact that the Jefferson Bible exists, and what it seems like he was doing there was showing, like, by doing that he doesn't really believe in all the supernatural elements of what the Bible says. He just wanted to focus on the teachings of, like, say, Jesus, that are in the Bible. And so that, to me, that's a man who is discarding all the supernatural baggage. He still has a belief of some higher power, but not a higher power that is throwing morale structures down at you, and, like, affecting your life on a day-to-day basis, so yeah.
Yeah, and also too, another thing that they realized as well, going back in history with the Crusades, things like that, the cause of religion had resulted in a lot of wars and a lot of bloodshed. And the last thing they wanted in a new country was for people to be fighting each other. Excuse me, I'm live. Fighting each other over whose religion was better.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't going to have that. So they felt that by leaving it up to the individual man to decide how they wanted to believe, that was the freest form of the way that they could handle it.
Yeah, I think there was also an element, like, if you put yourself in the time period, everybody who was, building the nation were, if not Christian in belief, came from Christian backgrounds, and for the most part. And so therefore, there wasn't the imminent threat, perhaps, felt by the people at that time that something was going to really come in and, overshadow that sort of worldview that they had. Do you understand what I mean? Like, I don't think they really recognized what was, like, that the whole world was going to come to your nation at that point, like,
Right.
So I think it was like, we're a bunch of Christian individuals, Christian, culturally Christian, we'll say it that way. And we're building this thing. And so there was a sort of leniency. It's like, if you want to be Protestant, or if you want to be Catholic, or if you want to be a Puritan, or what, you have your views, but we're all kind of in the same boat. But, things did evolve, and the United States did become a place where, it was it needed people, and a lot of people came, right? And I guess the
Yeah.
application of the First Amendment, not that it had to be changed, but it just had to be broadened or made more broad for to account for the fact that people of many other different types of religions were coming. And that's not a bad thing in my mind. I think that's a good thing. And I think the law, the amendment in itself does what it's supposed to do, so long as one side doesn't try to overtake it. I don't know if any of that makes sense, but
Yeah. Um, and I would like to, I wish I could say that it worked,
mm-hmm.
but in a lot of ways it didn't. Now I wasn't around for this, I suppose I could say it that way. Because he was assassinated before I was born. But I do remember hearing all the stink about when John F. Kennedy was elected president. How
Right.
could they? He's a Catholic.
Right, yeah.
And some of that ugliness popped up again later when Joe Biden was elected. They're Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Mm-hmm.
not Christian, they're Catholic. I'm sorry, but a lot of those kinds of arguments to me are people arguing over who has the better imaginary friend.
Yeah, and I think the opposition to Catholicism comes from the idea that Catholics are supposed to, listen to the Pope. And if you're a Catholic, like, are you supporting America, or are you supporting the Pope or the Catholic Church? Like, whereas sort of evangelical or say, like, the other side, like the non-Catholic denominations, don't have this central figure that they follow, and so therefore it almost gets looked at as a more you're more patriotically free. Does that make sense? You're not going to be listening to some guy in a foreign nation about how your values are, put into
Right.
the world.
One of the memes I forgot to send you. I'm so terrible. I wasn't ready. I'm not prepared, everyone. The one I just sent you now. A lot of the people who are making argument over their beliefs being superior to others seem to ignore the actual teachings of the scripture they're supposed to be about.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those things that Jesus was against was riches and wealth. Not that you couldn't have things, but the privilege was abused. And there he was at the temple, which this was pretty much the straw that broke the camel's back for the people who were trying to keep control of things in accordance to what Christian history says. And you know what? I think I need to. Can you unlock that door?
I'm gonna try right now.
Okay. I'm sorry. I totally forgot about the bungee cord. I locked my husband out because I didn't want to completely leave the door open because it would get too hot in here. And he's just coming back. So, but yeah, so Jesus went to the temple and chased out all the money changers and people selling stuff on the temple grounds because that's in accordance with their beliefs at the time. That was God's house. You don't sit here and create business in God's house. This is for worship. So that is the argument. And now we have it where a lot of people who are allegedly following these beliefs and stuff, are championing the vulgarity of the riches. We've got, 3 or 4 of the richest men in the world in this country who own half of the wealth of this country.
Mm-hmm.
And actively participate in preventing the lower and middle class from also attaining wealth. These guys are ugly rich, and yet there's a whole group of religious people that will tell you that it's bad to feed the poor. It's bad to Jesus never said any of this stuff.
That's for sure.
Not in their scriptures. He didn't say any of this stuff. He didn't, charge a copay to the leper that he healed. He didn't do any of that. He wanted you, those of his followers, he asked them to set aside these earthly wants and desires and follow him. It was not an easy life for him and the disciples at all. But the focus was on their belief, not on attaining wealth. Attaining wealth and these other things were a distraction because their job was to spread the word. And nowadays, we've got mega industrial churches. There are churches that are so big and so rich in some of the areas that I've been in that it's astounding to me. I see the little churches that I used to attend when I was a Christian. And then I look at that and I'm like, what are you guys doing?
It's it's lucrative.
It's scary too. Because if somebody has that powerful of a voice, that as a pastor of a church, did they become rich through it? To me, there's something wrong there.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
And I'm not going to sit here and completely rich bash. That would be unfair because our capitalist system is designed to allow that. But I will, yeah, you got it, mystery. But I will point the finger at unethical people who prevent others from at least even 1,000th of their wealth.
Mm-hmm.
If the common man is paying taxes, so should the rich man. No one should be above each other. But yeah, Joel Osteen is, yeah. No man should hold himself as more important or more valuable than another. But we have a society now that bases the importance of people on the size of their wallet. And I find that disgusting.
Yep, it's doesn't seem really like it's about religion or about,
Right. That old saying of the world needs ditch diggers too. Why isn't the ditch digger made just as important or valuable as somebody that is the president, your local sheriff? We're all human beings. And we all have differences, to be sure. But when you take those differences and place them as a tool of superiority over somebody else, that's where the separation of church and state is supposed to exist and step in. I had talked to you earlier in the week, and I brought up a gentleman who is considered, and I didn't pull that link up. I'm terrible. Let me get to it. There he is. Ezekiel Hart. And thank you to Viewer Tree for bringing him up.
Yeah.
He was an entrepreneur and politician in British North America, Canada, eh? And allegedly, it is said he was the first Jew to be elected to public office in the British Empire. And I find that kind of amazing since Jews have been around for a long ass time. Why? And I have to question it just like I do with my own people. Why was he the first? Why didn't this happen sooner? And it leads me to believe, just like way back when, somebody else's religion was more important. This guy kept getting blocked from being elected to public office.
Yeah.
And part of it was that they prevented him from doing so because he could not take the oath of office because it included the phrase "on the true faith of a Christian."
Yeah.
So, this was in the late 1700s, early 1800s, that this oath existed. And so even then, talking about the persecution of Jews, obviously it happened in Egypt, according to history, and even happened during the development of North America. So it's unfortunately this separation is under attack right now in the US, because there are a lot of very fundamentalist people who want it to become an official religion, a religion of the state.
Yeah.
At the expense of everyone else. And this country was built, well, first of all, it already existed on a bunch of different religions before they even came here. And then we had to add a whole bunch more religions as the Europeans and other people were coming here. And it's very disingenuous to me to claim your religion is superior over somebody else's. And that's not what the intention of the Constitution or the First Amendment is. The First Amendment is there to make it fair for everyone. Canada had some issues as well, but Canada handled them pretty strongly.
Yeah, I mean, it took us a while. I mean, we only ratified what's called the Charter of Rights and Freedoms in 1982, and that was really when the sort of line was drawn in the sand for how the state and religion were going to deal with each other. Up until then, I mean, it was, we were built off the backs of the British Empire. So, our whole legal system and everything was very Christianized. It was no different than what was going on in Britain. And I mean, it evolved over time, obviously, into the modern era. But, up until 1982, things like saying a prayer before a parliamentary hearing or something like that used to happen. And, once the charter was put into effect, that stopped happening, So, I mean, the charter is what it says isn't much different than what is in the US. I mean, our charter says you have freedom of conscience and religion, and freedom from religion imposed by the state. So you can practice religion freely, but the state cannot promote, enforce, or favor any particular religion. It has to remain completely neutral, and so that's how the courts approach the whole argument. So the first real trigger or of the charter was in I think I have it right here, 1985. And so it was basically there was like Sundays things were closed, so there was a drug mart that wanted to remain closed on Sundays, and there was opposition to that, and so it went to court. The court had to look at, is this legal? Is this or is this religious based? And ultimately they came to the idea that the reason why the business wanted to close on Sundays was for religious observance, right? The Christian Sabbath. And that made the ruling sort of clear, right? That the state, like a business can't impose that on other people. And so basically it came down to the fact that the business lost the court hearing, and therefore it became precedence, and that was the sort of first real major trigger for the charter to show that if it works or not type thing. And the idea is that laws must have a secular purpose. So like the idea that a law says you have to close on Sunday just isn't secular. It's coming from a very religious standpoint, right? So
I kind of, my, of course, smug opinion of that would be, if it's that much of a problem, why didn't they hire people that aren't Christian and let them work on Sunday?
Well, because I think it was the fact that the business owners were Christian themselves, and they wanted to impose that within their own business. But being a pharmacy, like they were a drug mart, right? Like a pharmacy, the idea is that it's a public access needs to be granted to something like that because it's for the safety of the public, like it's drugs, right? Like people need their medication and stuff, and so to be able to shut down and not provide that service is just not seen as secular. Plus it was on the books in where it took place, like in the sense that it was actually a law municipal wise that businesses had to shut down and on Sundays, and that just the state, whether it be municipal or like federal or whatever, just shouldn't have the ability to impose that because of religion. It was religious belief that was creating that precedence, right, of like shutting down on Sundays. So it lost, and so now we don't do that anywhere.
Now, what do the different provinces have their own laws as well, or is this countrywide?
Not really. Yeah, not really. When it comes to charter, like the charter is federal, so it applies in every province across the country. So any precedent set by any court things that take place are, it's federal. Like a place where. So here I have this here. It's like the government in Canada has no official state religion. There's no prayer in Parliament mandated by law. Laws must be justified on secular grounds. The courts, religious beliefs do not override rights. Religions cannot justify discrimination, and public policy must remain neutral. And then when it comes to public institutions, public schools are secular, with an exception. Government services cannot promote religion, and individuals may express belief, institutions may not. So that's very, and individuals can say what they want, believe what they want, express what they want, but our institutions may not. They must remain neutral. Now, the exception, like when I said public schools are secular, the exception would be Catholic schools. They do obviously Catholic schools are private and they're able to promote Catholicism. They promote their religion, right? And if you send your child to a Catholic school, well, then you're sending your child to a Catholic school. You're going to have to figure that out. But public schools that are funded by the government, they have to remain secular.
Yeah, that's similar to here as far as the Catholic schools go.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see a problem with that. If a Catholic person wants to send their child to a Catholic school, I don't have a problem with that. But in nature, as far as the public school goes, I mean, yeah, I do have my issues with public schools as far as how and what they're educating on. That's a bone to pick for another day. But someone's religion should be a private matter. It should not be a public matter to be imposed on other people. And that's what that First Amendment section is for.
Yeah. Like our courts here. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Go for it.
I was just going to say, like our courts, when they're looking at something that's challenging the, that section of the charter, what they look at is safety systems. Like, so is this thing that you're trying to impose, does it affect any of the safety systems in the country? Or does it affect public services or equal access or state authority? And if what you're trying to impose does any of those like four things, then you're likely going to lose your challenge in court. But if what you're trying to bring to court and challenge is something that's personal, private, or non-coercive, then you have a chance of winning that. So like you're saying, if something's personal and you want and something is trying to stop you from doing that religious thing, that's, you say you're like doing something in your home or something like that, and something is saying you can't do that, like you're gonna win that in court, right? Because nobody has a right to come into your home and tell you how to pray or how to anything like that. But if you're trying to, bring public prayer to a public service, whether it be a government office or a school or anything like that, like you're gonna lose that in court. It's not gonna fly. So that's basically my only point. It was those four things, like safety systems, public services, equal access, and state authority. Those are the things where if you try to mess with those with religion, you're gonna lose in Canada.
So in other words, you have no immediate threat of something like, Project 2025 reshaping your country.
No, it would to even get to that point, it would take such a shift in the people who are voted into public office, like, and our system is so different in how we vote people into office. Like, we don't just have two main parties, we have multiple parties, right? And it something like Project 2025 would be extremely hard. Now, it doesn't mean that we're that our government isn't sort of, I don't know what the right word is, I want to say like under attack by evangelicalism, but there are people who do want the same thing, who do want to bring like very religious ideologies into our government, and some of them do get elected in positions of power. But yeah, Project 2025 would be a really hard thing to do here, in my mind.
Mystery brings up a good comment there. freedom of religion also allows cults like Mormonism and Scientology to thrive. And here's where this is where when you're looking at a different religion, a lot of different religions call the other religions cults. Some of them really are. To me, if it's making millions and billions of dollars and owns tons of real estate or tons of or owns a few private jets, and your leader, your religious leader, is living in a big old mansion, yeah, cult. The cult of money.
Well, a lot of people don't realize that Mormonism actually, like the Mormons in the United States, the whole, the church has more money than the Catholic Church.
I'm not surprised by that.
You can look it up. It has exponentially more money than the Catholic Church has. And that's like, when you think about that it's astounding, really, because you essentially have a whole state that is very it's a religious state, like everybody knows that Utah is where Mormonism thrives, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting because we don't really have anything like that here in Canada, and that's you can see how that how Mormonism can have a huge effect on policy in your country and all kinds of different things like that because of the power and money that it has, right?
Yes. South Park teaches us about a lot of things, let me tell you.
It does.
Yeah, personally, yeah, I have my issues with the mega churches, obviously, or these televangelists that go and try and get your seed money. One of the funniest things I ever saw was a show on John Oliver about churches and how easy it was to start a church.
Yeah.
And talking about these pastors that, say, we'll say this prayer for you, or they'll sell you a sample of holy water, or some of the amazing crap these people do. And these people who so want to believe, a lot of them are shut-ins that can't go out. They're, convinced by these people and give them their money. And, we'll say a prayer for you if you do this, or God will, who was that past that God will take me if I don't get enough money to buy this private jet.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's so many of them, I forget their names, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the only name I remember just because it's so funny to me is Creflo Dollar. I mean, it's in his name. It is in his name, Creflo Dollar. These people, and that crookedness wasn't just when I was younger. So a lot of these things I'm talking about were things that happened a while ago. Some of them are still happening. But of course, Scientology still exists, although it's been taking some pretty good hits lately, and I'm here for it.
Yeah.
And Scientology is using tactics that were developed long ago to denounce and destroy people who have escaped from their grasp. And they're actively doing it on false arrests. Kenneth Copeland, oh my goodness, he's look this guy up if you want something to watch. Him talking about his COVID-19. I'm gonna blow you away. That guy was hysterical. And I laugh at most of these people because they're so stupid. But then, afterwards in retrospect, I feel sad because a lot of people are so gullible and taken in by the rhetoric of these online and TV pastors.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad. And these are a lot of these people are the same people who are supporting something dangerous like Project 2025. I'm going to talk about a little bit about this because so unfortunately some of it has already occurred. So Project 2025 is a far right blueprint of how conservative groups, religious conservative groups, whatever you want to call them, want to shape the country into. And it's a dangerous agenda. This thing was almost 1,000 pages long, and sadly, I read it. And it was scary to me. Some of it has come to fruition.
51% of it.
And we're gonna focus on the religious aspects of it today. For Trump claiming he didn't endorse or didn't know that much about Project 2025, it's amazing how almost all of Project 2025's authors have worked in the Trump administration.
Yeah, a lot of them belong to the Heritage Foundation, as
Yes.
MST just posted there. But the Heritage Foundation was behind a lot, everything that was done in the Project 2025, policies, proposals.
Yeah. Now I'm going to kind of quote a little bit an online media that I have had issue with in the past, but this is fairly coherent. Vox did an analysis on Project 2025, and they said that it appeared to represent three things. The first being concentrating power in the presidency, which we all know there was a reason why we were supposed to have separation of the various branches being able to act independently of each other. And number two was achieving conservative priorities at the expense of and demonizing liberal ones. And the third was pursuing a hard line for their religious right agenda.
Yeah. I mean, it's Christian nationalism straight up, right?
Absolutely. Christian nationalist teachings. They believe that U.S. law, government, and policy should be based on Christian nationalist teachings and morality. We'll talk about morals in a little bit. They want families to have the freedom to pursue religious devotion and spirituality. They want to secure their God-given individual rights to live freely. Well, duh, everybody would like that, not just Christian nationalists.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, these things already exist, but what they're saying is they want their version of it.
Their version of it. Such as Sunday, as you brought up, being exclusively a day of rest for the Sabbath. But that's at the expense of other religions. Main one being the Jewish religion. Their Sabbath day is on Saturday.
Same with Seventh-day Advent.
Seventh day, yes. My husband, Seventh-day Adventist, it's Saturday. But they don't care about that. They don't. They want, because of their religious beliefs, they want and have gotten severe restrictions on reproductive rights and the rights of LGBTQ people.
Yeah.
They have succeeded somewhat in blurring divisions between religion and government. And they do not care about other faiths, other religions, or what they believe. They only want one Christian theological, political view to be the default in a lot of government policy decisions. They don't care about yours as long as it toes the line with theirs. And this is dangerous. And this is already occurring.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Hi, Link Spur. Let's see. Where are you? Thankfully, there are a lot of organized religions, people of faith out there, groups that have opposed a lot of this, but as you know, even the Supreme Court has weighed in on this, and the current administration is getting away with a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to, where is it? I had, where are you? Here. Where are you? Oh, here we go. So these are based on reports in late 2025 to early 2026. I'm just going to kind of gloss over them.
Mm-hmm.
Establishing an anti-Christian bias task force. The president did sign an executive order creating that task force to combat alleged anti-Christian sentiment within federal agencies.
Yep.
Now, here's the thing. I meant to look this up. I did not. There is a church in Congress for people to worship in. I don't have a problem with that. If they want to go into that church and worship, fine. Other people may not want to. No biggie. But when you make that a rule that everyone in Congress has to worship in the same way you do and attend that church, wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what they're trying to do. They've also somewhat succeeded in redefining family and marriage. They have signed, in policies that move toward adopting the biblically based definition of marriage and family, mother and father.
Yeah, right.
And you didn't have a sex change to get there. They are also trying to usher in more policies that will discriminate against gay couples, trans people, adopting children based on objecting religiously. They've gotten executive actions put in place for religious freedom, and to expand the ability of faith-based organizations and employers to receive federal funding while refusing to abide by non-discrimination laws. As you know, this administration has pretty much tried to decimate everything about non-discrimination.
Yeah, totally.
And allows them to impose religious beliefs in the workplace. So if you are not a fundamentalist evangelical Christian, keep your cards close to your chest. Unless you work for somebody that you know doesn't follow that kind of crap.
Right.
Let's see. Reproductive rights. We already know what happened there.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure. That's a big one.
you know, I really hated this, and a lot of people went with it, and I don't know why they weren't more argumentative about it. You had the right to lifers and the right to choose. But somehow the right to choose became an abortion law.
Mhm.
And then, of course, the right to life. And I always was bothered by that because it wasn't an abortion law per se. It was the ability to make your own damn decision about what you wanted to do.
Yeah,
Not the
your decision.
government's choice.
Yeah, you and your physician, you and your doctor.
You and your physician, you and your spouse, even. You and your significant other, if they stuck around long enough for you to be able to include them in that decision for whatever reason. But they hated so much they legislated it out of existence and made it much more difficult. A lot of women are dying over this.
For sure. I mean, it creates all kinds of problems.
Yeah, but these kind of people don't care about that. And mystery science. I'll bet you know where this quote is. Well, but that's just it. The First Amendment allows that. It's supposed to be a private matter. So if you don't want to be religious, if you want to be an atheist, right, not whatever it is, you're supposed to be able to be free to do that. Now, one thing I loved, some of these state governments they determined, I think it was cities. I wish I would have pulled that up now too. It just popped in my head. Made it where it was okay to have religious displays on their city grounds during the holiday, mainly Christmas, right? They wanted a nativity on there.
Mm-hmm.
But it was when the Satanists showed up and wanted to put up their display, all of a sudden they had a problem with it. And that, to me, falls under be careful what you wish for. Somebody else, I think it was a group of atheists, they set up an empty table.
Yeah.
I loved it. That's the spirit, you guys. That's a wonderful way to troll the law.
Yeah.
Be creative. That I think that was awesome. And what it did was show the ridiculousness of it.
Yeah.
And
points out the flaws.
People exercise their rights. You wanted the freedom to do this. Well, we cannot discriminate against these other people too.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a whole lot I could say about the reproductive rights because I'll get angry. They've gotten policies put through regarding schools and education.
Mm-hmm.
More money is going to your tax dollars. More of your tax dollars are now going to private religious schools via school vouchers. And they are trying to replace secular education with curriculums that are more aligned with what they consider traditionalist Christian values.
Yeah, I've seen instances. I don't have the stories in front of me. We could look them up, but you can look. They could be looked up. But I've seen instances. I believe, like in Texas, is where I saw one thing where they were offering like extra money to schools that were implementing like prayer or like putting up the 10 commandments and stuff like that. Like if you did that in your public school, you could get like a benefit from the local government or from the state government, I guess. And that's, that's bribery, basically, like it's pretty unbelievable to do that, but it's
Well,
happening.
somebody passed a law that the 10 Commandments was supposed to be put up in every schoolroom, every classroom.
Mm-hmm.
And I never, like at my school when I was a kid, I never had an issue with the kids after school holding like their little Bible study at a table in the lunchroom.
Yeah. Sure.
They invited other kids to join them. I never had a problem with that. I never joined them.
Mm-hmm.
But they go off in their corner. It wasn't like they were spreading tracts all over the school and leaving them in the bathrooms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They asked permission to do it, and that was okay. I know that there would have been a problem if a Satanist wanted to do it, because I was in a conservative town in the Seattle metro area. As much as liberal as Seattle is, this was at the time a conservative bedroom community enclave.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily I was young, and as a teenager I was young and stupid at the time, so I didn't understand all that. That was not something that I had to be bothered by or think about. I was just, trying to make it.
Yeah.
And now here's an interesting one. I got to bring my husband up in this one, because my husband, and this goes along with the next policy changes that the Project 2025 has put through. My husband was one of the hot guys in school, okay? And we had this one section in the hallway of school right by the art room and the entrance to all the shop classes. And we would meet there. It was like the only time of the day that we could meet. So we got there, talked for like 2 minutes before we had to make it to class for the next bell. Quick peck on the cheek, because we were in a conservative area, so you can't kiss on the lips, and off to class. Well, sometimes we would, and we also had different lunch periods. So, when we first met, we had the same lunch period, but then my senior year, we had different lunch periods. During my junior and his sophomore year, we were able to meet in the hallway and talk for a while during lunch period. And after a while, a group of girls would kind of surround us. Well, I noticed it. He did not. What he didn't notice was there was a couple of guys that would also hang out. I didn't fully understand the concept of gay at that time because it wasn't something talked about, and thankfully so. But it didn't dawn on me till like a decade later. There's a couple of gay guys staring at my husband, or my boyfriend at the time. And I always found that humorous because it took a long time for that to really sink in.
Right. Well, it wasn't on your mind. It's not what you're thinking. That wasn't your world, right? You weren't thinking about that, so it was just some other guys there, right? But yeah.
Well, this is how young and naive I was. One of the girls that would hang out there to stare at my then boyfriend asked me, "Aren't you jealous?" And I said, "Jealous of what?" I didn't know what it was. I really, truly did not know what jealousy was. So all I could sit there and she goes, "Well, because he's really good looking." And I go, "Yeah, I know. I understand." That was my answer. I'm looking at him too.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
fair,
I get it.
yeah, fair
Um,
enough.
and so that, later on when I realized the two guys looking at him, it warmed my heart because they saw him as good looking too. I was
Yep.
not offended. And in a lot of Indian culture, two spirits, as they are called, are a part of the community. They're not chastised. They're not driven down. They're not some kind of horrible abomination, right? But
Right.
Project 2025 and their Christian nationalism will have you believe that they are.
Yeah.
So a lot of the regulations prohibiting discrimination based on sexual orientation, which also includes, guess what, straight women, and gender identity have been, if not completely removed, seriously watered down.
Mhm.
The only place I really agree with them on, and this might cause some consternation, when it
Okay.
comes to children, I do not believe a child should be going through any kind of sexual orientation surgery.
For sure. I think there's also
No.
I think there's also a misconception, like what's happening medically
Yes.
in the United States, that like because there's people who are fear mongering and thinking that like they're just running around, changing the sexual orientation of children left, right, and center, and that there's no guardrails and stuff like that. And I just, from what I've read
No.
from the medical like standpoint of things, that's not happening. But I understand what you're saying. Like, I mean, it's something that I think should be between, again, medical professionals and the parents. And as much as I just don't think religious institutions or religious ideology should be getting in the middle of that. But
No.
people should be aware of what's going on and yeah.
Yeah. So this is another thing that I wanted to talk about as well, is with the hardline Christian ideal that women are subservient to their husbands.
Right.
Charlie Kirk talked about it. A lot of evangelical preachers have talked about it. So this is nothing new.
Yeah, it's a very patriarchal view of things.
Right. And the problem for me is when they were deciding on the books to put in the Bible, they left a few of the women out.
Mhm.
For one, but they'll say, "Oh, Ruth is there." Well, yeah, Esther. But women had more prominence than that, even in the early biblical days. They weren't this idea that we've been marketed, staying home in the kitchen while their husband went out to work. Yes, true, the husbands did go out and do the more laborious work, but when it came to harvesting grains, guess who was out there working together? Husbands and wives, men and women. I believe some of the children were out there as well. It was equal. It was a lot more equal than they're trying to make it out to be.
Yeah.
If Christian nationalism has its way, they make women basically furniture in their own homes. You're only it's like you're only acceptable if you're making babies and making sandwiches.
It's a very religions throughout history have been very patriarchal, for the most part. It's to me, it's one of my problems with religious belief. I have many personally, but we won't get into that. But just that aspect of men are supposed to be the sort of like the top of some pyramid. Like, I mean, it's just antiquated thinking in my mind. We live in a very different world than, you know, 2000 years ago or whatever, that it's just illogical and irrational to have some idea that women shouldn't be able to attain a quality of life and a quality of life experience that men can do, or you understand what I'm saying. I mean, we're just it's a different world, and I don't see it's just a patriarchal power control game that's playing out when someone says, well, a woman should be this, like, that who gets to say that? That's ridiculous. That's somebody could say, well, that's what my religion, that's what my God says. Well, I personally don't believe that there is any God telling you that. I think that's your personal belief. I think that's men who wanted to control people's personal belief. So yeah, I have an issue with that.
Yes. I was trying to find something to send you again because it was, yeah, one of those things that let's see. Okay, if anybody knows who Jen Hamilton is, I'll just go ahead and read this. Well, I have to get better in making this show more concise.
Okay.
So it's a learning process.
Mm-hmm.
Jen Hamilton was a nurse that did a video where she read portions of the Bible that really ticked off a lot of conservatives. And her video was, this is what she said about it. I'm a Christ follower, but the video I made wasn't a religious or political statement. It was a moral one. The video was about the hypocrisy of people claiming to follow Jesus while supporting a movement that actively harms the specific communities he called us to love. I heard from people who are finding their faith by divorcing it from Christian nationalism, and that brings me hope. I'm not trying to turn everyone liberal. I'm just trying to create a moment of pause for people who feel deeply entrenched in MAGA to maybe help them reconnect with their own values outside of the noise. Really important comments. It would be nice if more people would do that, because the teachings and beliefs of Christian nationalism are a far cry from scripture.
Oh, for sure.
And it's just it's hurting a lot of people. It's dividing a lot of people. And on top of that, they're taking something that was supposed to be a freedom for everyone. Whether you choose to believe or not, you are supposed to be able to be free to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And turning it into a forced occupation of the mind. And I don't agree with that. I absolutely do not. I think it's a horrible, horrible thing. Let's see.
I just wish people could I mean, people feel like, I kind of touched on this I think last week, like they feel like if something is being equalized, they're losing something. Like when you're the
Yeah.
the privileged class, and something gets equalized, you suddenly feel like something's being taken away from you, when that's not really the case. It's just people are getting the same benefit that you have, right? And it's, if we apply that logic to religion and belief and stuff like that, like, you can make your community stronger by getting to know your neighbor and coming to understand that even though you have different beliefs in something, or no belief, somebody has no belief or has a belief in something, that you can come to understand each other and see that you're still not different. Like, you still want the same things. Most people just want security, a home, food on their table. They want their children to have, go to good schools. They want work, and a
Oh,
lot.
Sheen brought up a really good comment there.
Says
Yeah.
they would be losing some unearned privilege, which is good. Well, that's true. Exactly. Like, there are classes in North America who are privileged, who may not realize it, that could stand to lose a little bit of it. And if they're not really even losing it, it's just like allowing other people equal access to it.
Right. I don't know if anyone knows who Brandon Robertson is. He's a gay writer and activist and a Christian author. He's a pastor of a church in Queens, New York.
Okay.
And I thought this was quite accurate. The religious right was formed to use conservative Christianity as a tool to help right-wing politicians gain power and enact policies that preserve white conservative Christian privilege at the expense of everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
They have been remarkably effective in their strategy to conflate their values with Christian orthodoxy, and have convinced a considerable number of American Christians that to be a Christian is to support right-wing policies.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's all antithetical. I mean, these are just modern ideas being thrown into, um, in my opinion, antiquated religious ideas, but still they're people's beliefs. But yeah, I mean, just trying to meld new ideas in a modern era together to create supremacy. That's all it is.
Yeah. And of course, that's something I will definitely always be against.
For sure.
If people want to observe their faith, I mean, absolutely, that's what the First Amendment is all about. But the First Amendment also makes it clear, or at least it used to, until the waters got muddy, that there was to be no state religion.
Mm-hmm.
So the facts of the Constitution don't care about your feelings.
Yeah, it's the same here in Canada. The state is secular on all things. It does not take a position on any particular religion. There's no national religion, so therefore the courts and government must remain secular.
Yeah. O'Sheen also brings up a good one as well, ultra Zionism. To me, ultra Zionism is the equivalent of the Christian nationalism here.
Yeah, anything that's like ultra anything like that, when it comes, fundamentalism being so far entrenched within an idea that you believe that it's superior to all other ideas is bad. It doesn't matter what religion it is, doesn't matter what
Yeah.
belief you're talking about. You just take that position. It's, you're closing yourself off, and you know,
You're putting blinders on.
yeah.
You're absolutely putting blinders on. Anyway, we'll move on now to one of my favorite topics to talk about. The Second Amendment.
Okay. Well, this one's I don't being Canadian, our views are probably a little different. My views are a little different, but I want to hear everything you got to say.
Well, guess what? You're allowed to express them here. Because, listen, unless we talk with each other, we're not going to get anywhere. No one is going to be, 100% on everything. I mean, look, we even have a troll in chat who's totally against pretty much everything we're saying.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's okay. Say what you want, believe what you want. Yeah, you're not allowed to make a cop nervous.
Yeah.
But what about the people who get nervous? A lot of this has come to fruition since the murders in Minnesota or Minneapolis. I want to talk about that a little bit. And of course, I don't have my links up. Let me pull my thing up here. I'm having a hard time with it because allegedly, and this has not been a full investigation yet, he was legally carrying. There is no law that states in the state of Minnesota you cannot have a firearm at a protest. You cannot have a firearm on federal property, and I believe state property, but at a protest, no, you are allowed to carry. And that is a big issue for me because there's a whole lot of people who are making the comparison between Kyle Rittenhouse and Alex Preddy. Let me state, number one, Kyle Rittenhouse was also legally carrying, no matter what you believe. He was what my problem with his situation is he was a 16-year-old boy. What 16-year-old boy has had enough life experience or even learned enough tactical training or anything to be able to make decisions on the fly? It's hard enough for adults to do that who've been militarily trained, who've been in the military.
Yeah. I think my biggest I was just gonna say, I think my biggest problem with the whole Rittenhouse thing, from what I remember, of it all, was that he was carrying the gun that he brought wasn't his. It belonged to a friend, supposedly, and something about like a gun that you don't own transporting it across state lines. That just all seemed wild to me, but I could be wrong about things. I could be wrong about that. I don't exactly know, but anyways, that just from my memory, that always irked me if any of that was true, but I could be wrong about it being illegal or anything like that as well.
Yeah. Here's the thing. It was legally purchased for him.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And this is a big piece of consternation between gun rights people and people who are for more gun control. It was legally, the law states he could not buy it for himself.
Right. I see. Okay. I see. Yeah.
And not only that, the rifle was stored at his stepfather's house in Wisconsin.
Okay.
So it was purchased for him in Wisconsin. It was in Wisconsin. My problem with it is his mother, who dropped him off. Okay, so the used car lot admitted to asking for help for people to protect their property. Totally get it. I have a problem with a 16-year-old boy doing it. Absolutely have a problem with that. He is too young to be making the kind of decisions of should someone live or die.
I would agree with that. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, personally, I would agree with that.
And his mother dropped him off. Why would she do that?
Right.
That's not proper parenting to me. Now, proper parenting would be to discuss what was going on and why, and maybe the ramifications. But when you have grown adults chasing you down because you showed up and you're yelling at people, which is provoking the situation, your first responsibility as a firearm owner is to, as quickly as you can, and sometimes you only have seconds, you've got to assess the situation quickly and figure out a way to de-escalate it.
Yeah, the whole situation was wrong. Like as a firearm owner, I don't believe he should have been conducting himself the way he was. I sort of agree with Osen saying he was there for a gunfight. I believe he was there to cause trouble. Personally, it's my personal view. But
yeah, see, he was looking to get into a gunfight. You know what? I can't make that judgment, but what I will say was you don't show up with a gun and just hope it won't happen.
Mm-hmm.
When you carry, whether it's open carry or concealed carry, it does not matter. You are carrying a firearm for self-protection. You know exactly what that means. And if you are in a situation that you willingly put yourself in, that kind of blurs the boundaries a little bit. All right. Now, the difference between Rittenhouse and Preddy is Preddy didn't even touch it. It was in a holster on his backside. He didn't even reach around to touch it.
Yep.
So now here comes the caveat to that. Let me pull this up because I forgot to. And I'm sorry for typing. Okay. The handgun that Preddy was carrying, allegedly, and I say allegedly because, there's still an ongoing investigation. There's anything could pop up.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you ask about the law, about something, the answer should always be first, it depends, because that's true. Anyway, he was
Context for sure.
Yeah, he was reportedly carrying a SIG P320.
Yeah.
Which has had a very ugly history of accidental firing.
Yeah.
From what I have seen of the video, it looked like the officer, and by the way, they were Border Patrol. Everybody keeps saying ICE. These guys were Border Patrol. Who pulled the weapon out. When it discharged, he jumped. So he looked like he was surprised. Now, again, I'm speculating here, right?
Mm-hmm.
He looked surprised, and then things went nuts. So that has to be mentioned. Oh, okay, Linda. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
I
Hey,
am.
Linda.
You know, that has to be mentioned, that this firearm has a history. And whether or not that history occurred in all those videos, that remains to be seen.
Mhm.
But that weapon does have a history of accidentally firing. I wish Ned was here because he actually owns one, and he can definitely speak to the issues with that firearm.
Yeah, it's pretty much documented. It's pretty well documented. I
Yeah,
mean, there was a recall on guns and stuff.
There's been no recall on that.
No
And
recall, but yeah, okay.
The reason why is there's too many government contracts
Right.
buying it.
Okay, I remember hearing that too. Yeah.
And I agree with that too, O'Sheen. Ned's video shows him firing it. He also shows how you safely not only load and fire that weapon, but just weapons in general.
Mhm.
They're not toys. They're not something for you to walk around and show how big of a bro you are. Hi, Mugger. I'm not starting over. I'm getting hungry. But I'm glad you're here. So, you know, I'm hoping there's speculation and anger on both sides about this. And unfortunately, the apology that I made earlier in the show is exactly when this discussion was occurring.
Mhm.
I am a Second Amendment advocate. I am a progressive. There are a lot of us out there.
Bullshit. That can't happen. That
I
can't
know,
exist.
right?
No way. That doesn't. You're lying.
Yeah, I know. We got to be pigeonholed. And if people like Kyle Rittenhouse can be defended for showing up legally armed, what's going on with Alex Preddy? How come he's not?
Yeah.
By
I mean,
the right.
the hypocrisy is palpable.
No, actually, that's a good comment. Would you please highlight that one from Eric Jones Sanders, who sounds like the rest of these guys? Second Amendment advocate, but you're all about limiting who can and can't carry a gun. Okay, this is what I mean about blanket accusations.
Mhm.
And not all progressives advocate about limiting who can and can't carry. See, that's pigeonholing people based on your own idea of beliefs. And that's unfair to people like me who stay outside of that or do our best and sometimes screw up. But I don't want to be pigeonholed because I want to be free. It's just like voting. I don't want to be pigeonholed to voting only blue. What if I think that this Republican guy would be a better candidate? Does that mean because I registered Democrat, I can't vote for that guy? And that's what I call bullshit on. And it's the same thing with the Second Amendment.
Yeah, for sure.
It is a tool like any other. And some people are finding out that when firearms are not the choice to somebody who wants to cause mayhem, they grab a car or fertilizer in a rental truck. Doesn't matter. When the idea in their mind is to cause the ultimate devastation, they're going to figure out a way to do it. All these gun laws that the left thinks are going to protect people, I believe in classes. I believe in registration, just like a car. What I don't believe in is gun grabbing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's coming to a point now, especially in this situation, where yeah, small children should not. Yeah, domestic violence offenders I have a hard time with, because if they have never and the same thing with felons. What if the felon was in there for a nonviolent crime? Why should he or she be prevented?
Yeah.
If they have served their time, and let's say they were the model prisoner or whatever you want to call it, if they've paid the price for their crimes, one thing we don't have, and I wish we did, was remedial or more halfway house kind of things to work these people back into society. Instead, it's just like the military. As soon as they come back from war, discharge, we dump them.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. Why do we have such a large prison population? A lot of it's over despair and desperation. People making bad choices because they feel desperate. We got to take care of the despair in this country. None of this crime, and that includes the crime being committed by our own government. See, and I the 10-year thing, I don't know.
I don't agree with this. Once a felon, always a felon.
No,
Don't
I
commit
do
felony
not.
crimes. I mean, circumstance. I mean, obviously, some people are just bad, and they're always going to be bad. But people make poor choices, and things happen, and they're not forever bad people. But
I believe in them serving their time and then rehabilitation.
Mhm.
I don't think that we should just dump them on the street.
The system, the U.S. system, and the Canadian system could both do better on the rehabilitation part, but that's another topic, I guess.
Yeah. Now I like what Mugger just said, because that's going on in Iowa right now.
Which one? This one here?
Yep. Didn't want him to, he would and eliminate age restrictions on guns later. That's going on in Iowa right now. Yeah, and also other countries as well, the second comment. And unfortunately, those children are not indoctrinated. Well, in this country, it makes me wonder if that's what's going on. I don't believe in the for-profit prisons. I don't believe in profiting off of human misery. I have a real hard time with big pharma. These kind of things just breed more despair. And until, as a collective, we get together and tell our government, hey, this ain't happening anymore. Their propaganda has been so effective that we're fighting each other in the streets. And it's, there's no easy answer to this.
Yeah, I mean, the for-profit prison system is, it's not going to help the situation. I mean, how many cases do you have in the U.S.? And I know there's lots. I mean, I don't know the number. I know there's lots where judges are like just helping the prison system. They're getting kickbacks for just getting as many people into prison as they could possibly can, right? Like the for-profit part completely takes away the ability for well, I don't want to say completely takes away. I should say can greatly hinder the process of like fair trials and true justice, because money corrupts, right? And for-profit prison needs prisoners. So
yeah. Sam Mugger brought up, let's stop pretending like the fix is just more guns. I totally agree with that. That more guns is not going to fix anything.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, it's somebody's excuse for a bandage on despair. Yeah, let's just shit on our neighbor because they're black or because they're gay. Let's make more laws against that, right? That doesn't do anything. Subjecting each other to our idea of what morals are. As long as we're fighting each other, the government is like gleefully robbing the coffers and making more profit for themselves as the answer. And somehow a lot of us have been convinced, I used to be as well, that the government was going to fix everything for us and the government was right. No, it's not. And that same crooked ass government is the one that is running a crooked money making scheme for these immigration issues. And that's, or Greenland. Let's rob them of their resources while we're at it. Exactly. So, no, actually, Eric, it's been going on for a long time. It's not just Trump.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It is not just Trump. We've had a long history of it.
For sure.
So I mean, the reason why I point at Trump now is he's the president now.
He's the guy in power.
Going back and saying, oh, but Obama, oh, Biden. Yeah, go ahead if you want to. And it's you're using the same complaint as you have about me carrying 400 years of trauma. All of our people do, and we're reminded of it every day. You know what we don't do? Sit and wallow in misery. We talk about it. We try and educate other people about it. And that's why you don't really have an argument here.
It's white privilege.
It's Eric, yeah, and top it off with the Eric privilege going on. Right. Mugger's got it. See, I got, you know what? A lot of stuff, not necessarily what I talk about because I do have my own mind too, but Mugger has kept me on this, when I kind of veer off in a strange direction, he'll question me. And he'll, I may not like always what he says, but then when I think about it, he's got a point. So he's kind of like a moral compass for me.
Yeah.
And you know what? He hasn't talked down to me or called me stupid or called me a cunt or anything like that. No. He's able to do it in a much more dignified and diplomatic manner.
Yeah, some people are able to have.
Yeah, where I'll actually listen to him instead of laugh or ignore. And that's a bold claim. Illegals have manipulated my okay, buddy.
Yeah, just let him go. He's just gonna go on his little thing.
Awesome. I'm so glad Jess is here as well. So I hope you learned a little something. I think I'm done.
Okay.
Mac is here. Well, you know what, Mugger? These are hot topics. The people are very passionate about them. And I get it. And you're just as passionate as anyone else. But you've never treated me like shit over it. Even if you disagree with me. And you and I have had, we have had our disagreements. Same with Mac. Mac and I have had our disagreements. We're still friends.
Yeah.
And
people can disagree.
And that's the whole idea. Are you going to look at your neighbor just because they believe different from you and throw them in the trash? Or are you going to make a little effort to understand why they think that way? It's called depolarization. You should learn it, Eric. Anyway.
It makes for a much better society.
Well, I know. Yeah, I wish that Eric was smarter. We need a smart troll in here, a fun troll. Yeah. But I gotta agree. I gotta say though, we have a troll, so that means we're reaching people. If somebody had to make an effort to come here and be so miserable,
it's awesome. Hey man, you're free to do it. Nobody's gonna stop you. Like, as long as you don't break TOS, say what you want. You know, you can call us retards. You can call us all kinds of names. You can fight with other people in chat. They'll take care of you. It's okay. It's fine. It's not a big deal. We're just having fun. We're talking about things we want to talk about and get ideas out there and see what other people. You want to be angry. You want to think you know everything, or think we know everything. That's on you, man. So, you know.
We are talking about that today. So, you know, you're the one who was calling me a dumb cunt earlier. I could, you know, load the same accusation at you if you think that's what we're talking about today.
I would say go get your own channel and just kind of do what you want to do. Talk about what you want to talk about and that kind of thing. Or just keep coming here and playing.
And whining. Because that's all you do is whining.
It's totally fine.
Oh, Mac, are you sure you want to read the TOS? Anyway.
Okay, to be fair, he didn't call you a cunt. He called MSK. And he's right. I did notice that. He was talking to MSK when he said the cunt thing. So
my miss bad there. I apologize for making that accusation.
Geez, you're just like apologizing to everybody today.
Yeah, it must be my day.
Yeah, there you go.
But to me, it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I contributed to an ugly situation, and that's not how I want to be. That's not how I want to be perceived. That's not the example that I want to set.
For sure.
For, you know, people who are watching, because like it's all about conversation. If we can converse with each other, ideas can be formed.
Yep. Well, you know, we're all human and we make mistakes sometimes. It's simple as that. But as long as we acknowledge them after we've done them, you know.
Hey, put up that meme, please. You got to put up that meme.
Which one? From who?
The one with the Canada and U.S. staring at each other.
Oh yeah. Here we go.
Yeah. There you go. And there's me at the top. Everybody's got to have their weird friend, and there it is. Anyway, if you have a show idea that you would like to see, my email is in the information under the show information. It clicks on the now I'm babbling because I'm getting tired and hot. It's ugly old broad at proton.me.
I totally forget this all the time. I guess I'll throw it up.
There you go. Also too, I was very remiss and I forgot during the show that we were talking about racist stuff and showing the clips that of Dickbag Patrol. He had done one with Spider Dog and showed Spider Dog's page of
right.
His videos as well. So please also take a gander over at Spider Dog's videos. He's insanely creative.
Yeah, I make fun of a certain YouTuber quite a bit, or expose him quite a bit, or all of it quite a bit, and a few other things there.
Eric, we don't have to do a show on full of shitty and uneducated opinions because we have you.
Yeah, we got you, buddy.
Yeah.
I just also want to mention, if you send something to my buy a coffee and you're doing it because you were watching here, say that in the comment. Say like, oh, I was watching Ugly Old Broad, and that's where I saw the thing, and I'm sending it. So then I know who's sending it, and I can like equate things to like money stuff between Ugly Old Broad and I. How about that? So just make a note of it. That's all I ask.
Also want to mention, and let me see if I can, or if you want to do it, Mystery Subset Theater, his channel.
Oh yeah, right.
Anyone who's got a channel say something so we can link it. And also Hill Pirate as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kelly is definitely. That was funny though. It was funny. See, now that's how you do it.
There's Mysteries, and I'll do Hill Pirates. I should have these like written down, like ready to go someplace, but
yeah,
I haven't thought of that yet.
Yeah. Eventually I'll get more professional. And eventually I do have a Discord in the works. We haven't finalized channels yet. And we will also be putting out videos as well and shorts. Besides the one from oh, that's a weird link.
Is it a weird link? I can't.
Oh, it looks weird. Just from the results ? Search query.
Oh, it's still Hill Pirates though.
Yes.
So the weird link is Hill Pirates. If you click on it, is it? Yeah. Yeah. It'll bring you to Hill Pirates. Oh, it's because it's it'll bring you to their channel.
Okay. Hey, honey, you got a shout out in chat.
What's Mugger saying?
He said, "Bless you, magic hair."
Thank you, sexy.
He said, "Thank you, sexy." Yes, Margaret does hate spiders.
Well, I want to say that I appreciate Eric being here. We don't hate you, man. You don't have to be angry, dude.
Gotcha pun for every shooting. You must be mistaking this channel for some of those wacky left wings ones, because I don't believe that. In fact, I personally, him himself, it was dismissed, and I agree with it. My problem is with his mother.
I'm sure Eric believes that O.J. Simpson was innocent.
Who knows? That was nutty. That was nutty. But anyway,
yeah.
If you have a show idea, go ahead and give me a shout out in the email, or catch me at one of the lives in chat. Hit up Spider Dog, like, subscribe. Also after the show, if you don't mind leaving a comment, that would be lovely as well.
Hit the like, leave a comment.
Free OJ, wait.
Or hit the down button. Hit the down button, even. Whatever it is.
Yeah, if you want to do a thumbs down, that's great too. I'm totally open to that. not everything I'm going to say everybody isn't going to agree with, and I am totally okay with that.
Yeah, totally. It's the way it goes. We
But
just
if
we're
I
the
do,
ones with the channel.
yeah, if I do see something, some kind of ignorance going on that let me rephrase that. If I think it's ignorance, I will say something and why I think it's that way. And I'm always open for engagement. Hey Eric, what misinformation? Oh, never mind. Because if we did have misinformation, you'd be able to tell us where it is.
Let him report what he wants. It's YouTube will make its
Yeah, 100 of
choice.
us. I know. I don't know how many socks because they're all pretty much saying the same thing. So he's changing them like he's got diarrhea and changing his underwear.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
people, have a lovely rest of your weekend.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next Sunday.
Yeah. Take care, everybody.